Well, that sure escalated quickly. I had only seen, sort of a blip here or there about this, this group of doctors. I think I saw Trump tweet it out, who they had some press conference in Washington where they're talking about how they think hydroxychloroquine's effective, which we've known for a long time. There's been lots and lots of good news about that. For some reason, it makes the media very upset every time anybody says that. And so you don't hear too much about hydroxychloroquine. And if you do hear about it, you hear, way more negative news about it, like in the few days later, just to make sure that nobody thinks that it's a good idea to use that. But I guess these doctors crossed a line for the media. And for social media, and for, well, really, I guess all the tech companies in general, for Silicon Valley, because they said that hydroxychloroquine was effective, and they've been completely unpersoned. Now, as of yet, the only thing that I've seen that really is still left up is the doctor the main doctor in her Twitter account. She does still seem to be able to tweet, but the videos of her of this press conference that she was involved with these other doctors, and I haven't seen the video now because it's gone from everywhere, so I can't go back and watch it. So I don't know what they said exactly, but that, whatever they said has been scrubbed from the internet. So if they had some positive opinion about hydroxychloroquine, that is no longer available. You're not allowed to hear that. YouTube removed it, Facebook removed it, Twitter removed it. In fact, Twitter banned Donald Trump Jr. for tweeting it out. Or I shouldn't say they banned him. They suspended him for 12 hours. So he got a slap on the wrist. He was told, no, you're a bad boy. You're posting disinformation, which apparently the opinions of a few doctors is disinformation. Here I thought it was just their opinion. That's kind of how medicine works. When you go to a doctor, you get their opinion. And, if you're smart, you go out and you get a second opinion to make sure that the first doctor isn't off their rocker. Well, we've heard the first opinion from all of the, all the big pharmaceutical companies and from, the corporate TV doctors, and they all said hydroxychloroquine is very bad. You need to take a new drug that has an active patent that we can make lots of money from, or some vaccine that we can charge out the nose for, because we know that everyone's going to have to take it, so we can bill all these governments who are going to have to pay for it to give everybody the vaccine and force people to do it. We want something that, that has bigger margins than hydroxychloroquine, because that's a very old drug. It's cheap to produce. We don't want that around. And in my opinion, that's pretty much what all this comes down to. It very much seems to be about money. I didn't realize it at first early on. I was quite confused as to why there was such a violent backlash against hydroxychloroquine. And I'm talking about, a couple months ago, maybe back in March even. There was a very negative response from the media to any talk of hydroxychloroquine or a couple of these other drugs that are older and out of print. And it wasn't, I can't remember exactly who pointed it out, maybe it was Chris Martenson, pointed out that, well, gee, all the drugs that the media seems to be so convinced could never work. Again, TV anchors, not even necessarily doctors in the media, but TV anchors being very passionately opposed to these drugs. They only seem to do that for the drugs that don't have an active patent, the ones that you can get generics for, the ones that have no intellectual property rights attached to them, that some pharmaceutical company can collect rents on. And that the things that they were promoting, such as this Moderna vaccine, such as, I can't remember the other drug that they were trying for a while, but that went nowhere, and they had to eventually drop it. But there was another drug that the media was pushing for treatment of this virus, and it was, of course, had an active patent, and I can't even remember. This was so long ago now. I don't even remember the name of the company, but their company stock was going up. And CNBC was talking about how great this is. Look, they've got this wonderful drug that works, they produce, and they've got exclusive rights to it, so only they can produce it. Everyone needs to buy this stock. But it didn't work out. But hydroxychloroquine hung in there and seemed to still have some promise. But nobody's ever wanted to give it a chance. And I'll have to watch an update. I'll need to go to Chris Martenson's channel, because he's really the one who follows this every day. So I'm not going to try and speak as to the efficacy of hydroxychloroquine in these cases, because I have not studied the data enough. There's a whole literature about all this, but needless to say, what really is the story here for me is the refusal of the mainstream media and of big tech and of I would imagine the pharmaceutical companies who maybe are influencing them, the refusal to engage in any sort of debate, for there to be an open discussion about what could be effective treatments for this brand new disease that's killed thousands and thousands of people, that possibly we're seeing leaves permanent lung damage even on people who have rather mild symptoms. And I have to say, it's quite dangerous what they're doing, because if there's any chance that this drug has any efficacy at all and can even somewhat increase the marginal survival rate, or can decrease the marginal damage done to your lungs from this disease, if it can make the cycle a little shorter, so the people aren't sick for as long, so that it's not able to do as much damage to their body, if there's any chance of that, all of this just greed fueled silencing and censorship is quite evil. Because it's totally clear, I know that the anchors on CNN are not incredibly well read when it comes to the literature on this topic. It's not that they're so smart and that they know that these doctors are so dumb. It's that they are either being paid or misled by greedy people who do not want this drug to have any sort of a chance at gaining any mass adoption. And you have to be very careful about this, because I think a lot of people probably think that, Big Pharma is some left-wing boogeyman, a boogeyman created by the left wing, because, big oil and big everything, and big tobacco, it's a cliche. But the pharmaceutical and medical cartel is very real. I mean, that's why healthcare in America is so unaffordable. Nobody wants to talk about that. They just want to say healthcare is unaffordable, so the government needs to pay for it. Nobody ever really wants to discuss why healthcare is so unaffordable, because then you're attacking special interests that have a lot of power in America. The American Medical Association, for example, which is not the pharmaceutical industry, that's the doctors, they've been around since 1847. They've been lobbying for a long time to, increase the value, or that's the wrong word, to increase the profits of their members. That's what corporate lobbying groups do. I mean, it's just natural. So you can't look at them as if they're angels. You have to understand that there's a lot of money to be made in this field, and you have to take that into account when you're listening to these people. You can't just, look at a pharmaceutical company and say, oh, well, they say that this drug that's out of patent won't work. And so anyone who says that this drug might have any chance, that's fake news. We have to shut them down. It's like, you have to realize that that company and the doctors associated with it, and perhaps doctors who are being paid by that company, have a great financial incentive, obviously, to downplay any of the positive effects of a drug like hydroxychloroquine. And you, noble mainstream media anchor or noble tech billionaire, although I shouldn't say that, the tech billionaires probably know what they're doing, but all the little people who are working in these companies and I guess are part of hashtag resistance, trying to shut down the hydroxychloroquine people because they associate the drug with Trump or something like that. You're all a bunch of useful idiots acting, on behalf of the pharmaceutical industry. Which is very ironic, considering that the left is supposed to be the ones who are the most concerned about healthcare in America and are so, red-pilled on the problems with our healthcare in America and with the problems with the industry. But apparently, none of them, for the most part, especially the folks in the media, are particularly deep in their knowledge. They just, know, oh, I want the government to fix it. They don't really understand any of the problems or where they came from or why we continue to suffer in this country. Yeah, so just to wrap up, so these people, their videos were removed from all the social media sites, and now their entire website's been taken down by Squarespace. Squarespace, a company which sponsors a lot of the podcasts that I listen to. So I would imagine that they would probably, if they're so concerned with suppressing the, these doctors working with hydroxychloroquine, they probably don't want to sponsor the kind of podcasts I listen to. And anyone who listens to those kinds of podcasts definitely doesn't want to, host their website with them, because apparently your website can be taken down at any moment if, the mob, or, I mean, this isn't even really the mob, it's just the establishment decides that you're a threat in some way to, to their income. So Squarespace, not a good web host. So with that said, if you gain anything of value out of this video, I'd appreciate you clicking that like button and sharing this video. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe, because I do upload every day and I'd hate to have you miss one. So I'll see you folks back here tomorrow.